Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation for the Dwarven Vault. And today we have a monster review. And the monster we're going to look at today comes to us from Deities and Demigods, the original first printing, although this particular mythos is carried through all the three, first printings there were, or eventual printings of the first edition. And it was used primarily with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or what is typically called 1E at the time. Well, actually, it's called that more now. It was just called First Edition Rules. So, in using something from Deities and Demigods, once again, what we're looking at is something that really isn't a god. It really isn't one of the major controlling deities. The one we're looking at today comes to us from the Babylonian Mythos, and it's DAHAK. DAHAK is the three-headed guardian dragon, spirit of death. It's not really qualified as a god or a creature, but certainly when you look through the details that are provided in the book, this is clearly a creature. It's a very powerful creature, but it doesn't have any really special godlike abilities. It does have 200 hit points, but its armor class is either ethereal or 1. We'll talk more about that later. Its average intelligence. It is 72 feet long, so this is a very, very large dragon compared to any of the dragons in the monster manual. And of course, given that it is a mythic dragon, if you will, this one has some very specific abilities, and it's a very difficult dragon to deal with. First of all, each of the dragon heads can do 3 to 30 points of damage on a bite. They also can change their dragon heads in terms of the colors that they are, and at any time, it's able to let off a blast of dragon breath of any of the dragons through each of its 3 heads once per round. It's pretty much whenever it wants to. That's pretty cool. Now, on top of that, the only time you see this dragon in the prime material plane is when it actually materializes to attack, and it's only the head that materializes. That then is at an armor class 1, or you travel into the ethereal plane and battle it there. 200 hit points is a lot, but it only has 55% magic resistance. So you got kind of a fighting chance if you've got strong characters. Now it can fly, of course, as a dragon, or move on the ground. And it's a very, very nasty customer. And of course, like many dragons, this particular dragon is chaotic evil. It is a one that, from a description standpoint, has more to do with its size, so this 72-foot long, 3-headed dragon, but it has the ability to change the look of its scales and colors pretty much whenever it feels like it. That's probably the closest thing to being godlike that this creature can do. It has no magical abilities. It is average intelligence, but it's not one that is a spell-casting dragon. Now, as a DM, using a creature like this in either introducing the Babylonian mythos or even using it independently from anything like that against some of your adventures in a higher level dungeon, to me makes a lot of sense. This would be a very cool creature to battle in combat, especially for a higher level adventuring party. And once again, it's something you could add into a dungeon that you wouldn't necessarily be aware of unless you spent the time to read through this book. The fact that it's listed with as a quasi, what do they call it, the spirit of death. There are independent gods for the underworld and for like the demons and stuff like this, and there doesn't seem to be a separate god of death in the information that was provided in the book. Now, don't even get me started about how accurate that is compared to mythology and what's been discovered and all this kind of good stuff. It's just, we're talking about what's in the book. Imperfections and all. But having said that, using this as a creature, this would be a lot of fun. I personally, in re-reviewing everything out here, I think I may have found a home for this in the future. But a very, very cool creature. And once again, out of deities and demigods. So if you're thinking about writing a new adventure and are looking for a real interesting baddie, think about using DAHAK. What the heck? Why not? Now, of course, given the unique nature of this creature, it is not something that any of us Hornhelms have ever run across, nor would I expect to. I don't know anybody who's traveled in a realm where the Babylonian mythos was something to worry about. Asking dungeon masters and players about this, I did, and no one knew what I was talking about. So this one is unranked. But certainly, in looking at what it's capable of doing, this would have to be in that 7+ range. Not just because of the level of hit points it has, but all the interesting powers it has. And oh my gosh, I forgot. It has one other power. That's a very important power. If all 3 of the heads touch a magical item at the same time, they permanently negate the item. So if you're big, bad, I don't know, paladin or something, huge warrior with a special magic sword gets touched with all 3 heads at once, poof, now it's a normal sword. Now, the chances of this happening, especially with this only having average intelligence, really means that that item or weapon or whatever, the chances of it hitting all 3 of those heads at the same time are, at least in my mind, incredibly low. But it is yet another power. So, like I said, if you're writing a new adventure and you're looking for something different, think about using the DAHAK from Deities and Demigods. And that, my friends, is the DAHAK. Hope you found this to be interesting, educational, amusing, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please be so kind as to leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. But by all means, come back and see us again real soon. We thank you so much for your kind support. Take care, everyone. And remember, dwarves rock! So join us here on the Dwarven Vault, where we're always on the cutting edge.